disco hat on?
Oh, do you have a hat for this occasion?
The last party we had, I wore my disco hat.
It seems
I don't have a hat nearby.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a hat, but I have like an air plant. No. So we'll start off the night. Oh, it says I'm Katrina Potter. That's okay. We've got people coming in still too.
If you make me co-host, I can let people in, I think.
Okay, cool.
If you feel like.
Is she still in Idaho?
She's on her way home.
Okay.
Very close to, she's probably home by now, but like just got home. I think I can just click on your name to do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. All right, so we'll start off our BOGO party tonight, like how we start all the nights, and I'll pick a soul truth card just to be in the mode, especially since I think most of us are wellness advocates on there anyways, but still always good to do a soul truth card. So what else could this mean? There are always multiple ways to look at every situation. Our first reaction is usually rooted in our fears and limiting beliefs. Look at a situation today by stepping outside of the trigger and ask, what else could this mean? Today's soul action. Is there something your soul is calling you to learn in this moment, or is there a pattern that is ready to be broken? Walk in the other person's shoes and see it from their perspective. If it doesn't involve someone else, ask yourself, how is this happening for me right now? So that's a good one, especially if you're working on like anything to do with like that victim, persecutor. What's the other one? I'm clearly just the victim and the
rescuer.
Yeah.
I'll rescue you.
Thank you. And then something else too, like I have had the motivate on my side for the last 2 days, but even before that, but I'm just loving that lately. So before we get into our BOGO box talk, does anybody have any testimonies on motivate?
I use motivate every day. I don't know, just because I am in love with the smell of it. Sometimes I even just put it on before bed. I just really enjoy the smell of it.
To motivate you to go to sleep?
Yeah.
I was just looking at the ingredients, the essential oils that are in it earlier tonight. And I had never really done that before for whatever reason. I just always thought of it as citrus and peppermint. And I never really looked at the ingredients. Melissa, there's Melissa in there. And that is so good for like stress and anxiety. So I'm thinking like, yeah, it helps with focus to stay motivated, but it also kind of touches on that like anti-anxiety aspect as well. So it's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I love the smell of it. I keep it on my nightstand and I try to put it on right when I wake up in the morning, and it's just so associated with like jumping out of bed for me and getting in a good mindset. And since I had it out yesterday, I went to sit down in like my Sunday meditation chill vibes, and I always have Whisper on my little place where I do it. So I thought that's what I had. And like, if you know Whisper compared to Motivate, two very different experiences. So it's just funny. Then I was like, all right, I'm ready to go.
I actually have to get myself some Whisper. Do you feel different when you use it? Do you feel different when you use it?
To me, I use it a lot of times. I don't love patchouli, but there's something about that blend that makes me love it. And if I ever have it on and like go out into public and people are near me, they're like, you smell so good. So I think it's like one of those ones that's just, I don't know, it's like a perfume.
Yeah, it like changes with your pheromones.
That's what I'm thinking, because I don't typically gravitate towards patchouli.
It's on my list. They make it, it's in a roller bottle now. It used to be in a 5 ml, I think. And now it's like meant for just topical use. Yeah. I gotta get some. Anywho. Sorry,
I had-
It calms me. It's like I walk around and I'm like, so I don't wear it too much.
Yeah, well, I know. I think it's just like one of those ones that's grown on me because I didn't love it at first, and I do lately.
I kind of feel that way about Intune, and I had an interesting experience with that the other day. I put it on, and then I got a ride to town by somebody, and they're like, "You smell like coffee." And I was like,
coffee, huh?
"Okay." So did you
What's
have
in
some
it do you think that would smell like coffee?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it smells like coffee at all. But I mean, I
No.
definitely think that's what he was
No.
smelling. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, I love this little tangent we've got on, and if you don't have Motivate and Whisper in your cart, go add them to your LRP. And we're talking about Motivate too, because I'm sure you guys have seen that that is the free oil of the month. So our intention for tonight is to talk on the BOGO boxes. And I don't know about you guys, but I like when we just kind of share our testimonies and how we use them. But we will put this ebook up in the background to keep us on track and to give you some tips and tricks along the way. And it's all in alphabetical order. So if you have your BOGO box, get it out, go through it with us together. Adaptive touch is a great one to keep on your desk, on the places where you like frequent often. I know I like to keep mine on my desk, and just when I'm sitting at my computer, if I need a moment of just calming and all the Zen vibes, I go towards adaptive touch. We know that some of the ingredients include copaiba. I would think of that as like the active ingredient in adaptive touch, or in adaptive, because that is CBD's nicer sister. We love copaiba when it comes to all things grounding, stress release, anti-inflammatory. I really just love the smell of adaptive, and I'm not a huge fan of copaiba as far as the smell goes. It has grown on me over the year or so that we've had it, but it's not one of my favorite smells. And in the adaptive blend, it is so nice and calming and grounding. So I use this probably once or twice a day. I love the adaptive capsules if you haven't tried those before either.
Today, I actually did Motivate and then layered it with adaptive over it, and that was nice.
That sounds nice.
I think I use the adaptive oil most frequently at night to turn down kind of mental chatter. But I have found that sometimes it helps during the day to actually keep me motivated and like focused more than like your traditional citrus, although there is citrus in adaptive, but like, you know, the more mints and the more like driving oils. I don't know. I think I have a little bit of a focus issue, and adaptive helps me during the day to keep focused.
Yeah. I mean, that is how I typically use adaptive for me. Like that's my intention around it, is usually like that focus, but not to the point where I am like, when I need that like calm focus, I wouldn't necessarily like gravitate towards adaptive before I like go do a workout or something like that. But when I need to like sit down and get things done,
Yeah.
that's when I levitate towards adaptive.
I almost feel like if you have like a more anxious personality, that adaptive might be better for focus or focus and motivation than something like motivate. Like kind of like, I don't know, it just depends on like how you run. Like, do you run anxious? Do you need uppers or do you need downers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I love this too, though, is like, I think everybody that I've ever suggested it towards is like, this smells amazing and makes me feel really good, uplifted, but then you can have that like grounding, calming vibe with it too. I don't want to talk on it too much because everybody is different. Every especially when it comes to animals, but I do have a big Rottweiler who's like 150 pounds, and I take the adaptive roller down his spine and he absolutely loves it. So just like people, animals have different experiences too, but it works really well for him when he's stressed out or anything like that. So does anybody else have anything on adaptive testimony wise they want to share?
It gives me weird dreams, but I like it.
Well, do it during the day right now.
Yeah, I know.
I wonder if you used it at night with juniper berry, it would eliminate the bad dreams. Juniper berry is supposed to help with nightmares.
Okay. I like your story about the sweet gum too, Liz. Tell that little quick story.
Is sweet gum in the oil blend, or is it in the capsule?
Yep.
It is. Okay, so sweet gum, I believe, has been and you're putting me on the spot, so I'm trying to recall it from memory, but I think it's the ingredient that in indigenous cultures used to be used to reduce cravings. So like reducing hunger and thirst cravings before a hunt so that they could like have more sustainability with their activity out there. And it gives you like, they would chew it or smoke it, and it would give you like this full body Zen kind of focused Zen sort of thing going on. Yeah.
Fun. I know. And I don't know if that's what it is, because I'm familiar with all the other pieces to this, like the wild orange and rosemary, neroli, whatever. And there is something like that comes through that's different. So it's probably that sweet gum smell.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, cool. So Aroma Touch is next in our alphabetical order, and that's known as the massage blend. Some of the active ingredients why we would call it the massage blend is because cypress is great for blood flow, as well as basil, peppermint, grapefruit, lavender. This is one of those ones to me that I don't typically like grab, and then every time I do, I'm like, why don't I use this more? It's so great to like rub into your legs at the end of a long day. If you have any sort of like blood flow issues, we know that like grapefruit is great for the metabolism as well as the lymphatic system. And this is just a great blend for like self massage, or if you have somebody else in your house who can rub it into you or whatever. And I love what you said, Liz, about diffusing it, because it has that smell of like a spa. So I took your word for it and I did that, and it smelled so good.
I do love it in the diffuser. However, and I diffuse it anyway, and I also diffuse Balance. It does have fractionated coconut oil in it. So if you're like weird about your diffuser, sorry, not weird, I take that back. If you're like protective over your diffuser, just know there's fractionated coconut oil in it. I've never ruined a diffuser with it, but I know there's people who are like, no, don't do that. So, but yeah, it's awesome. And if I'm achy and I also feel like I need to turn down my mind at the same time, I'll go for Aroma Touch over like a deep blue, because it just has that like calming spa environment kind of aroma to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one is a great one. Just a good staple to have, especially like sometimes just deep blue, you're not in the mood to smell that. Does anybody have any other testimonies on Aroma Touch?
I use it at my desk. I have a roller ball of it that I made. And with my constant repetitive sitting at a desk with your neck, I roll it on my neck all the time, and it works like a charm. All the way down my neck into the shoulders. So at your desk.
I have a client who uses it for restless leg syndrome.
Yeah,
so if anybody has that going on, that's a good thing to try out.
Yeah, and that cypress is great. I was really excited to see clementine. I'm always down for a different citrus oil to put in our water. I think that clementine is just a staple to have, and it's always nice when you don't actually have to buy it. I was pumped to just see it in the BOGO box.
I love it in my water too. I learned just recently that so the growers that produce clementine for us, we actually use the bruised clementines, and so that they don't get thrown out. And we make this awesome product out of it. And the growers are actually able to like increase their profits and not lose that money that they would from just like throwing away perfectly good fruit.
I love that.
Yeah.
No, that's
I love
cool.
our company. It's
I
so,
know.
so
I
smart.
remember hearing something on like how they came about the clementine by trying to like take all the perfect parts of the oranges and making the hybrid seeds.
Oh, that's so cool. I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
And that was through like a doTERRA podcast. So like it was through not the Empowered Success one, but the other one that's for customers.
Yeah. I can't remember. Empowered You, maybe? Empowered
Yeah.
Life. Empowered Life series.
Empowered Life series. Those are
I
good.
didn't get that. Could you try again?
My watch thinks I'm talking to it.
Try again. So does anybody else have a clementine story? If
It's
not,
just
that's okay.
yummy.
We can just go through. We're only through the C's.
It's a good change up from lemon in your water for sure.
It is. Any citrus I love. So cypress, we were talking a little about that in the aroma touch, and cypress is one of the main ingredients in that. And I know that cypress is one of those herbs that has been used for a very long time, and it comes from a tree. So think grounding, calming, but it's also very energizing in that it helps with blood flow and lymphatic flow. It's just been something that's been used for a very long time as far as like healing and just promoting overall flow in the body. So this says on here, like apply it to your feet and legs before you run or work out. I think that's a great idea. I like to diffuse this with a citrus oil like grapefruit, maybe even the clementine would be really nice, as it's got like that woody smell, almost like frankincense does, but it goes really well with citruses in the diffuser.
I almost always add it into a roller bottle blend that is used for like inflammation or tissue damage or swelling. I don't diffuse it very often, but I always put it in those types of roller bottles for topical use.
Yeah, and this is a great one for anybody who's pregnant and any like swelling around their ankles or joints. This would be a good one to use.
Oh, I just made this recipe. I didn't make the blend yet. I'm making like a monster spray for kids. And I picked oils that would be supportive for bedtime, not only for like turning down the mind, but also like bedwetting and nightmares. So juniper berry, cypress, vetiver. I can't remember what else I put in it. I put a little bit of wild orange in it just to make it a little bit more of a fun smell, because if the kids don't like it, they're not going to use it. But that just reminded me, cypress is for bedwetting.
Oh, and I was thinking like growing pains too. So probably.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody else?
We use cypress for varicose veins.
I've used cypress a lot for post-surgical
Mhm.
inflammation.
Awesome. All right. Does anybody feel compelled to talk on Deep Blue? Any testimonies that they really want to share? Anything like that? I think we all know Deep Blue in and out, right?
Yes. Deep Blue is a lifesaver. Definitely great for bruising and sore muscles. And if your boyfriend's hand gets hit with a sledgehammer and all of that.
Yeah, and I just really feel like this is a great oil to introduce as like that very first experience, especially with the naysayers or anything like that. It's just
the gateway oil for sure, especially for the men.
Cool. So we could talk on that all day, but we'll just go through to move along. Fennel, to me, was one of those ones I did not love the smell that much, but then once I started using it, I felt very in alignment with it. It's something that is strong in the sense that like it is either like you love fennel or you probably don't. And I now use it all the time, and I love the emotional part of fennel, and it has a lot to do with like letting go. It can also be like an appetite suppressant, or if you're not feeling very good about yourself, like it's just one of those things where if you need to like let things go, move it through the body and have that, it's just, I don't know, I love it now. It was not something I loved before, and even like if the fennel seasoning was in something, I didn't like it, but now going through and knowing the history of why fennel was used, and a lot of times it was to like get that aftertaste out of your mouth and to promote digestion. And it's been used for a really long time throughout history as far as like digestive issues go. Does anybody else have any thoughts on fennel?
You know, I've never really been a big fan of fennel either. I do, however, like it in a little bit of seltzer water with lemon essential oil. It makes you feel like you're having a cocktail when you're not. And it tastes kind of like an Italian cookie because it's got that like anise flavor and lemon, which you get in those, you know, those like Italian ball cookies that are so yummy. As for like medicinal uses, I've never really used it for much other than maybe digestion. But I do recommend it for moms who are having trouble producing breast milk. And I feel like it's good for the urinary tract for some reason.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
know
it's good for
I was gonna say, I know it's just good for like moving things out of the system. So I'm sure.
yeah. Cool.
Fennel
I love
tea.
it.
Mhm.
But
So how
I
do you
added,
do it?
I have packets of instant tea that I got from a company called Cuse. I gave some to Liz to try. So just like a mild taste of a herbal tea, and I add fennel to it. Because it's otherwise you're just drinking fennel and water. That's like, I need a little bit of a flavor and add to the flavor. But I'm also one that will eat fennel on, you know, I'll stir fry it and eat it because I love it. But for digestion,
That's so interesting. I actually really love fennel bulb roasted, but I'm not a big fan of like fennel seed. So that's interesting.
And I've mixed it with ginger as well in my tea.
Yeah, that sounds yummy.
Yeah, it says it's been used during the medieval age to block off spells and ward off witches and evil spirits. So there's that too.
Oh, snap.
So maybe that's why I don't have any witches around me.
Probably, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Anybody else on fennel? Okay. I'm looking at this too, this little recipe here that we have in the background, the Milky Mama of fennel and basil with fractionated coconut oil, probably for lactation. So cool. Frankincense touch was such a goodie to see in there. I know that I use frankincense on the daily, whether I'm taking it internally or rolling it on my face. I use frankincense with my dog and cat all the time. They are senior pets. And when I get their frankincense roller bottle out of the silverware drawer, they come running towards me. Well, it's more like a fast walk, but they're excited to see that. And frankincense is great for anything that we can think of with the mind and the brain. It has been heavily researched when it comes to like anti-cancer properties, anti-inflammatory. I know for me, it's just really grounding. I love the smell of it. It just has that earthy vibe, and I have been applying it a lot more topically now that I have it in the frankincense touch version. It's just convenient and something great to keep in your medicine cabinet or with your skincare routine.
This is one that I will keep in the bathroom actually, because I'll use it in the morning when I'm getting ready. I'll use it to, like, when I do my skincare regimen, I'll do my moisturizer and I'll do some spot treatment with the frankincense for age spots, which are new to me this year. Freaking age spots, but but that and the Immortelle are like, I was so excited they were in this BOGO box.
I know.
I've been using it on my nose a lot where it's been a little, probably too much sun.
That is really smart.
Mhm. Frankincense is also good for macular degeneration support, which I have the early on setup. You put it under your eyes and on your above your eyes. I do it every morning and night.
So Connie, with you saying that, that makes me feel really good because I recently gave one of these to my grandma, and that is something in our family history.
Mhm.
And I know that I've heard people talk about that with the Immortelle. So I just gave her that and I told her that. I have never heard that before. So you just solidified. I'm like, this is great for eye health. And I mean, I figured it was, but
Well, another thing on eye health, because when I went in June to my eye doctor, they had noticed this 2.5 years ago. My mom has it, so, but they said it hadn't progressed. Mine hadn't progressed. And he asked me what I was doing. And I had taken with me the Lifelong Vitality, and I had taken the eye supplements that I was told to take before, but I couldn't take them. They were very upsetting to my stomach. Plus, they went against my grain because there was stuff in them that I couldn't even tell you what it was. So when I took him the supplements, because I hadn't seen him, he wasn't the person who told me to take the eye supplements. He looked at the Lifelong Vitality and he looked at the eye supplements. He goes, "You don't need the eye supplements. Everything you need's in the Lifelong Vitality." And then he asked me what else I was doing. And I told him the frankincense above and below my eyes, and obviously leafy greens. And he said, "You're doing everything you can possibly do." So it was very, very reassuring that
oh, I love that.
he supported the Lifelong Vitality completely. So that was great.
What a good doctor.
Yeah, he's really awesome.
Love it. So moving right along to our Immortelle, which we were all excited to see. This is just one of those bougie roller bottles or products from doTERRA that, like, I don't know if you're anything like me, I wait for my points in my LRP to add up before I purchase usually something like this. And Liz can tell you better. I don't see the ingredients in it right here on that page because I know you had them down pretty well, but they are the top oils that we could mix together in a beautiful collection
yeah.
for your
Well,
skin.
let me see if I can remember them. It's frankincense, myrrh, rose, helichrysum, I think lavender, and I feel like I'm missing one more.
Is frankincense in it too, or am I making that up?
I thought I said it, but yeah.
Oh, maybe you did. Okay.
Yeah, it's totally in there. Yeah. So I also, when I was kind of studying this when we had BOGO week, if you were to buy all the oils that you need to make this roller bottle, it would be $656. Because they're all the top shelf oils. So if you bought each one individually, it would really add up. And the blend is completely undiluted, so you can use it. I would recommend diluting it though with something. Just I do because my skin's really sensitive. And I've said this before, but I've tolerated fractionated coconut oil on my face, but it's not like an ideal oil for your skin. But jojoba is, so that might be something you want to add to your carrier oil collection. Like that one's for face, and then fractionated coconut oil is for the rest of your body.
So I was just going to say, with jojoba oil, that also comes from a tree, I believe, and the chemical like constituents in that are so similar to the oil in our skin. And that's why if you have more sensitive skin, or to put an oil directly on your face makes a lot of sense. It's like the closest thing in nature to the skin oil that we produce.
That's cool.
It's
Didn't
cool.
know that.
I really like to add some yarrow palm to mine as a carrier because it's got the pomegranate seed oil in there.
Yeah.
Makes it spread farther.
So I've mixed it before with the Virage serum, and I just like take a dropper bottle to like extract some out, and I mix that in with the Virage skin serum. So
Nice.
This is basically the Virage skin serum though.
Yeah.
So it's the same oils, and then just like I'm recommending with the jojoba oil, they have jojoba oil in it.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to get this blend too. Like if you didn't get it in the BOGO box and you're like, geez, I wish I had, but I don't want to spend the money on it. You could also just get the Virage skincare line because it has the same oils in it, but they're formulated with other ingredients for absorption because they're not like the Immortel is completely undiluted. So yeah, if you're looking for a skincare line, that is a really good one to go for sure.
Yeah, and I love watching people's before and after when they put it like around their eyes for like any crow's feet or wrinkles on their forehead. It's always amazing. And the emotional properties are quieting the mind and helping release negative perceptions and going towards gratitude and kindness, which I love that too. So I've never experienced kumquat before the BOGO box. Anybody, I don't know, maybe because I'm still kind of new to doTERRA, but this was a first for me. I do really like it in the water. I thought it was mild. It was a nice mix up besides just having like lemon or grapefruit. So I really liked it. I saw you could add it to like your toothpaste or your moisturizer or cleanser, which would be nice too, or like even your DIY counter cleaners and stuff like that.
It's been such a long time since I've used it, and I'm giving mine from the BOGO box to my mom, so I didn't get a chance to pop it open. But from what I remember, it's like a very mellow citrus. Like it's not a really sharp flavor. And I hate to be a broken record, but it's good in your water.
Well, right. And it reminded me of like the green mandarin, how that's like kind of tastes like nothing, but I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's mellow.
I looked up, I don't know if I saved it because somebody asked me the other day, like, what the heck is that good for? Oh, maybe I didn't save it. I'll have to grab my emotional book.
I can.
Yeah, I'm in a different room, but I looked it up and it had a lot of good cleansing properties as far as that goes. I took a screenshot.
I might have it. Kumquat. Kumquats are unique in the citrus family with the sweetest part of the fruit contained on the outside in the peel. I didn't know that. As such, kumquat oil addresses preoccupation with a cheerful external disposition that masks anxiousness, self-doubt, pain, and unease hidden within. Individuals in need of kumquat oil tend to judge and push down feelings deemed as unacceptable or unwanted. Kumquat oil instructs that true happiness comes only through real, honest, and unstudied living. That's really interesting. I like that parallel between where the sweetness is and like the surface of your emotions. That's kind of cool. It's neat.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at this digestive flow with kumquat and fennel and peppermint and ginger. That would be a good roller bottle to rub on your belly.
Are we going to get a copy of this ebook?
Oh, sure. It's actually, I found this in the Wellness Wins page, but we'll post it when we post a recording of this. It's a really good one.
Yes, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. So lemongrass is a staple in my massage practice. First of all, love to diffuse it. It smells like a spa. I feel like it doesn't matter who you are, lemongrass is just a good smell in the air. And maybe I'm wrong for saying that, but like big burly men and little petite women, it doesn't matter. Like everybody loves the smell of this. It's not too masculine or feminine. It also has a lot of properties when it just comes to inflammatory properties and stress and calming. It's great for the skin and digestion. It's just one of those overall great herbs to use. It is earthy, but it has that sweet note from the citrus. That's where it gets its name from, like lemongrass, even though it is not a citrus. This has been used historically in cooking throughout many different cultures. It's great to add into your recipes, but I love it mostly, like I said, for diffusing and then applying to the body topically, like sore feet, plantar fasciitis. I know anybody who's just feeling sore and maybe you're just not in the mood for deep blue, or you just need an extra layer with that deep blue, lemongrass can be really great.
This is another one right up there with cypress that I like to add into anything for like inflammation, used topically, arthritis, tissue issues, tissue repair. I have also made a sushi like dipping sauce with it, with just, I use coconut aminos, and then like lemongrass is one where you don't need a full drop when you're using it in your food. So you want to take a toothpick and dip it in the bottle and then like swirl it in the aminos. And the same with ginger. And I want to say I probably used coriander. Oh, no. It might have just been lime. It might have been lime, lemongrass, and ginger. And it's really, really yummy. But I just eyeball stuff. I don't like actually write recipes out. I just kind of create stuff in the kitchen. So I don't have a recipe. I just gave you my recipe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lemongrass is definitely a staple in my life for cooking and pain and in diffusing, all the things. Like it's just so versatile. I love that it's only like what, $10 normally too. Like this is something I use very willy-nilly just because of the price point too. So
I remember when I realized it was only $10 and I was like, why don't I use more of this? I was like dumbfounded. I thought it was like a way more expensive oil. It's super cheap.
no, it's great. I saw something the other day to make lemongrass popsicles, like a DIY recipe.
That sounds good.
Probably be good. So yeah, that's a great staple to have. I was always excited to see that. But again, that's something if you missed out on the BOGO box, just add it to your order because $10, 250 drops, that's crazy. Anybody else on lemongrass?
I was going to say, I actually used it. I was painting one day and I got a little spot of paint on my clothes and I used lemongrass and it removed it. Very multi-purpose.
My husband uses it. Deep blue doesn't work well for his muscle cramps when he's climbing ladders because he gets groin muscle cramps. So we do wintergreen and lemongrass rollerball, and that's what works for him.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
And I broke my thumb and I used deep blue and lemongrass together, and it took away the pain. Definitely took away the pain. I probably should have went to the doctor because now I have a big bulge on my thumb. But anyways, I was painless.
Well,
lemongrass is a staple for thyroid health too. So if you have either hyper or hypothyroid, it can go in a roller blend with myrrh and peppermint. And I want to say black pepper. Black pepper usually in a thyroid blend. Anybody remember?
Probably. And I know that lemongrass is also one of the ingredients in DDR Prime, which I feel like DDR Prime is so underutilized. I don't know why we don't talk on that more. We'll work on that.
It totally helped me with my night sweats. DDR Prime.
Yeah. So Purify, just to shift gears a little bit, Purify is just amazing when it comes to trying to cleanse your space. Like if you have animals, I know for me, like that is something that's going to get the smell of like any sort of like wet dog smell out of my house. I love to put it on my dryer balls. I have these little passive diffusers in my car that I drip it on, or even just the carpets in my car. Anytime there's like a musty smell, I'm using Purify. And it has citronella in it that's great for keeping away the bugs. It's a unique smell in that it is very herby, but it is extremely cleansing. One of my, Helen, who's not on here tonight, I don't think, maybe she is, but I know that her daughter did a drop ceiling in their basement, and it had that chemical smell that a lot of like new construction materials will have. She tried everything from dehumidifiers to air purifiers. Nothing was touching it. She started diffusing Purify, and it cleaned up that chemical smell. So I thought that was really impressive.
It works great for skunks that when your dog is sprayed as well.
That's good to know. Thanks, Tracy.
I mean, not that anybody wants to use that, but I did have to after the night before Thanksgiving. Our dog was sprayed by a skunk, and he came in and we did everything, you know, the tomato sauce, the everything. And I was like, and it was still there. So I grabbed the Purify and sprayed him down and washed him again and sprayed his whole coat with it and diffused it, and the smell was gone.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. I wouldn't have ever thought of doing that.
No. And I
I was
know
desperate.
they say like with pets and tea tree, but I would imagine that it's mostly just for cats. I have heard it for smaller dogs too, but if you're diluting it with whatever you're bathing them in, that little bit of tea tree, I mean, don't quote me on that, but
We just sprayed it like
Yeah.
in a spray bottle with water.
yeah, and that's what I've done too with like the wet dog smell. So it's diluted. It's not like you're putting it directly on their skin. Like you shouldn't do that anyways.
I think it's mostly for cats. Like
Okay.
the tea tree is really bad for cats, but like if they ingest it too.
Yeah.
So like if you have it diffusing, or if you spray it in the room someplace, it's not going to bother them.
Right. As long
Purify
as
is
you're diluting it.
such a great oil. I used my last bottle all up this weekend cleaning my car, or actually last week. And I shop vacuumed the car, and then I did baking soda on all the carpets, and then a couple drops of the Purify, and let it sit overnight. And then I vacuumed it all up, and it smells amazing in there now. So I feel like I need to do that every, like maybe twice a year, or once a year, just to freshen it up. But it worked like a charm. It smells really good in there. And it was getting funky. I don't know what it is. It's just getting funky.
I think it's just
Spilled
that
one too
time of
many
year. It's just that time of year. Don't judge.
Yeah, it is. Funny, we're on the story of skunks though. I had one of my customers last night at 9:45 message me and say, help, they had done the hydrogen peroxide whole gamut and the poor little dog was still smelling. Lavender is also one of the one that is recommended, and she used it and she said it really helped. So just for future.
Nice. That's a good call too, with the lavender in it.
It'll calm them down after they get sprayed.
Mm-hmm. And then from like that emotional standpoint too, like if we think of how like cleansing it is, it's also going to have that effect on us and support us emotionally. If you're ever in a funk or you've been around somebody you just need to cleanse out. So I love that. Tea tree is a staple in my house as far as using like any sort of spot treatment for blemishes. I also like it just if I'm having like stinky armpits. I don't ever like apply it directly to my armpit. I'll kind of put a drop in my hands and then like rub it in and put it up. And I don't do that very often, but if they're just you've got some sort of armpit stuff happening, that can be a really good one. Just from my own experience, or adding like a drop or two to the top of your deodorant before you apply that. I also recommend doing like a cleanse on your armpits once in a while with the doTERRA mud mask, or you could do like another clay mask and you can add the tea tree to it. It's worked well for me, and it doesn't like irritate my skin like some of those stronger oils can. Does anybody else have any testimonies on tea tree?
I don't know. It's just one of those oils I use all the time. Can't even think of what I use it for. It's just always, I have one in the bathroom. I have one in the kitchen. The thing that I keep thinking of is how it's in our new shampoo. And I love the new shampoo because it's like tingly. So like if you don't have the new shampoo, which has tea tree, eucalyptus, peppermint, and something else tingly. It's spearmint, I think. It's like they picked all the yummy tingly oils. You can just add that to your regular shampoo, and it helps with making your hair shiny and dandruff if you have any issues around that, and bug repellent, so lice. So if, back to school, that's another thing you can do with it, is a couple drop, like I do like 10 to 15 drops in a sprayer bottle and just spray your hair if you're in a school environment or if you have kids. I also put it in, I use the On Guard cleaner concentrate to make a spray bottle for the bathroom. And then I add tea tree in it because it has the antifungal properties. So it's good for like mold. So I scrub the tile down with that.
Yeah.
I use it all the time.
I think that with it, it's just one of those things, especially if you are in any sort of environment where you're around other people, coming in contact with them, it's just something good to either be like wiping down your space or adding to whatever you're doing to like sanitize your hands or whatever. Because I know for me, like that's something I keep nearby if I don't have a hand sanitizer or something else. Like I'm just like, all right, I'll just do a drop of that. And it's not very strong or anything. Like it doesn't irritate my skin. And I'm just reading on this page on the background about the fingernails and toenails. Like I'm definitely going to start adding that into my routine with like cuticle care. And I'm sure it's great to keep any sort of like fungal stuff away.
Yeah, my mom is a nail tech and she uses it for anybody who has any kind of nail issues going on their hands or feet or anything like that. So.
Oh, you guys are reminding me of all the things I use it for. So when I go to get a pedicure, I will literally just bring it with me and drop it in the water, and I will put it on my toes when we're done. And something you said, Brittany, reminded me that it helps create like a barrier if you're an empath. So it's an energy barrier. So if you're like going to convention or like a place where you're going to have a large group of people, it can help you to block that negative energy if you are susceptible to it.
Yeah, like on an airplane or something. Maybe even diffusing this in your car.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, is this what the koalas eat in Australia? Is that tea tree? Or am I making that
No,
up?
don't they eat eucalyptus?
Or is it eucalyptus? Okay. I knew it was
eucalyptus.
One of them. Yeah. Cool. Well, that is everything. Does anybody have any other testimonies on tea tree or any of the oils that we brought up?
I brush my teeth with it. I drop it with my toothpaste from doTERRA just for mouth bacteria, kill it. One drop. Of course, then you need the mouthwash because it doesn't really taste that great.
Did you see that reel on Instagram where they took like a glass lotion bottle and squeezed the On Guard toothpaste in it and put the mouthwash in it? And then you pump it on your toothbrush. And it's like a little bit thinner. Like you have probably like a 10-to-1 ratio of toothpaste and mouthwash. Like it's a lot more toothpaste. But you pump it on your toothbrush and it's like foams it right up.
Oh, neat. What? No.
Yeah, I don't know who shared it earlier. You see so many things online, but
They mix it with the mouthwash or they mix it with tea tree?
No, they
you
mix
said
it with the
mouthwash, right?
Yep, the toothpaste
Oh,
is mouthwash,
cool.
and it like makes it kind of foam up, and they're pumping it out, and like it just looked really fun, and that's I think a really good hack to make it foaming.
Cool.
I like it.
I have to find it. So I will share this ebook when I post the recording later on. But does anybody have any other testimonies, tips, or tricks with these BOGO oils?
I don't think so. I
Right.
just really thought it was a good BOGO box. I
It
could
was.
like they're all staples. They're all things with like the exception of fennel. I don't really use fennel a lot. It's probably time for me to replenish mine. Probably have had the one I have since I started. But everything else was like, oh yeah, I use that all the time. It was a good box. We lucked out.
Yeah, it was a no-brainer, and it was nice because even if somebody was brand new, they're not hard to bring into your everyday life.
Yeah.
But I do think with fennel, though, that always comes up on my Itovi reading. So maybe that's why I'm more drawn to it. It always comes up. So,
I need to come get an Itovi,
yes.
Liz.
No.
I don't know who's in the Utica area, but I am doing Itovi scans on Tuesday nights at the farmer's market in New Hartford. If anybody wants to come see me.
Can you share your Itobi with somebody, like say they wanted to use it at another?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
either.
I don't know. I think I would like to think it's possible. You would probably just have to disconnect it from your app and they would have to connect it to, they'd have to get the app and connect it to their phone.
Yeah, I was thinking if they had the app, they could do it because
I've
like,
never tried
it's
it.
Bluetooth. Yeah. I'd like to know though, because I would send it with people if. Mhm.
Right.
I did an Itovi on when we went down to Utica across from the train station. Somebody had one there,
Mhm.
and I have the app on my phone
Yeah.
from that.
We should see if you could use like a random scanner with that one.
So,
Yeah. All right. Well,
Ayla,
on
when are
that,
you coming back? Ayla, for people that don't know Ayla, she's in the Virgin.
I'm coming back on the 12th.
Nice.
nice.
Yeah. So
Thursday.
Thanks, Joan.
Yeah, a week from
Okay,
Thursday.
I have to get off for my Empowered Success meeting at 9.
All right. Well, Ayla, when you come home, we need to hang out.
yes, for sure.
All right. Well, have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you.